today, there are men who are willing to die. There are men who died. They were not just willing to die. They saw death face to face and they gave into it. If their life will mean anything to God, let it go. The Christianity that we do in Africa is called self-preservation, self-preservative Christianity. There are some white men that brought the gospel to us. Malaria killed some of them. Malaria, because we didn't have the cure for malaria at that time. Many of them die out of malaria. Can you imagine that? Malaria. And when they die, others will come. We owe the West so much. This Christianity that we are doing, nobody wants to suffer for the sake of the gospel. Meanwhile, people had to suffer for you to get it. Somebody had to translate King James, the Bible, the Torah, where it is, to smaller portions so that people can have access to it. People had to suffer. There's a book called Fox's Book of Martyr. You may need to read it. It's about those who died. It's about those who died. Those who suffered. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's about those who died. Herod took James in the New Testament and killed James. It's about those. There were people who were willing to die, and rightly so, they gave their life. In their mind, in their hearts, if their life will mean anything to God, let it go. Some missionaries were buried alive. That's missionaries to Nigeria, to Africa, they were buried alive. They were buried alive because we didn't want to receive the gospel. And if that happens, others are coming. That was how they invaded Africa. They had children. They had families, but they left them. What is our life going to mean to God? That I may know him. I'm challenging us and encouraging us at the same time, that I may know him. What will our life mean in eternity? You are going to heaven with people who were willing to die, who left all. He said, we have left all and followed him. They left all and followed Jesus. People were willing to die. You are going to stay in the same heaven with them. Where will you be in that heaven in relation to where they are? Are we together? This is the burden that I brought this evening. There are many people. Can you imagine a man just married? If you read, you will see the sacrifice people have paid. Oh. Some people didn't even serve God up to 4 years and they died because they were willing to offer their lives. They took risks to become missionaries to certain territories and they were killed. And some people have met Jesus and they stay 50 years, and what they are doing with their life is nothing compared to what some people did for 4 years. That I may know you and the power of his resurrection. That I may know him. There was something, I believe, that these men knew about God. They knew the God that a lot of people are far from today. And one of the things I believe that they know about God is that if you give him your life, is in his power. If he takes you from here, if anybody kills you for the sake of the gospel, anybody, whatever happens for the sake of the gospel, they believe that nothing is lost. that becomes another sacrifice that will open up that territory. You find out that this gospel that you have, this life that you have, that you're using to play like this, some people didn't live more than 2 years because they were willing to extend this light to a territory and they had to be killed. Some were told that they would be killed. Rightly so, they were killed because they won't change their mind. When you see a man who will not change his mind about God, his position, he's willing to even die. What the person has achieved is know you, that I may know him. If you find people who try to save their life, it doesn't matter what they say, they don't know him. Because if you know him, one of the trademark of knowing him is that you are willing to lose your life. Your life will not make any sense to you again. Your focus is his life, not your life. Mark 10 verse 30. Let's start from verse 29. Jesus answered and said, verily I say unto you, there is no man that have left house. There is no man that have left house, or brethren, or sisters, or fathers, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my sake. That's the clause. For my sake. That is, just leaving these things, they are not a big deal if it's not for his sake. In the natural, there are people who have reasons to leave these things. There are people who have reasons to leave their father now. You can leave your father to go study abroad, Nabi. He said, what he's dealing with here is for his sake. Are you get what I'm saying? That's the emphasis there, with emphasis to for my sake. You can leave your wife to travel for business on a business trip for 3 months and come back. That's not for his sake. Because having said that in Mark 10:29, in 30 he now gave us the blessing for it, if it is done for his sake. There are people who have had reason to leave their father for a while. Some of us have not seen our dad for a while now. My own is for his sake anyway. Mine is for his sake. Yes, mine is for his sake. You don't want to know the pressure that just to come one day and come back. When I plan, something comes up. And if Jesus comes up, Jesus gets my attention first. 2 reasons for living. The blessings are tied to those 2 reasons. For his sake, or for that of the gospel. Will you leave your father for that of for the sake of the gospel? There's something that needs to be done. Will you leave your sisters for the sake of the gospel? There were men who left their entire family with no hope of returning, but yet they left crying. They were weeping for joy, and they came to Africa to bring the gospel to us. They came. They came. Do you ever think that the family of those men can be forgotten? Never. Many of those men are not known today. But you see, God remembers a man, his sacrifice, unto generations. And so when a man makes sacrifices for God, you might come and say the child is not doing well. That's your problem. Eh? That sacrifice, there's nothing you can do to undo it. When David touched God, God came, he said, no, my mercy will not depart from the house of David. Until date, it's called the sure mercy. He wanted to buy a land, and the man said, if he's the king, let's give it to him free. He said, no, I will not give to the Lord anything that will not cost me. But you know, what we are doing in Nigeria, we are giving to God things that don't have value to us. Meanwhile, the real way to give to God is things that you will need to die when you give. But we're not just talking of things. The emphasis here today is not just things, it's your life. The emphasis is my life, not what I give, not the things that I give. It's my life that God is interested in. God is not looking for people to give him money. He's looking for people to give him their life. Until you give him your life, your money doesn't make too much meaning. Anybody can give him money. Your life is more important to God than your money. If you give him your life, he is guarantee of your money. You can give him your money and you are far from him. You are not willing to put down your life. Travel. If Jesus says he wants your travel, he wants it. Because that you're traveling is like Jonah going to Tarshish instead of Nineveh. If Jesus say he wants it, how many of you listen to me as Jesus collected something from? If he has not collected anything from you, it's an empty shell that you have. Nothing is there. It's an empty shell. That's why your Christianity lacks power. It's an empty shell that you have. There's something called the doctrine, the principle of exchange. It seems like God will not do certain things with a man until he takes certain things from a man for God to change his mind. You know why some people are praying for God to change his mind to suit their own will. They are not praying to be in a position that fits God's will. Only God knows why people pray. So people are praying for God to change their mind, so that their mind that God, his mind that he will change will suit their will. So they are actually praying that God fit into their will, not they fitting into God's will. Even when they know God's will, they pray that God change it, change it. You cannot take the cross out of Christianity. The message is the message of the kingdom. And what gave birth to the message of the kingdom is the cross. So you can't discuss the kingdom without the cross. In Nigerian Christianity, we need strong men. Men that have strong spirits. Men that are not willing to bend. Men that are not willing to compromise. Men that will stand. They are willing to lose sisters. And you know what I'm talking about? Fathers. They are willing to be separated for a while. And they will not shake. They are willing to be rejected by the family. And they will not shake. They are willing to be scorned. They are willing to be embarrassed. They are willing to be troubled by the father, the mother, the sisters. But they will not shake. They are willing. They are willing. How willing are you to stand in the face of adversity? Because if you faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. The fact that you fainted is a pointer to one thing. Strength that is insufficient. If I faint in the day of adversity, our strength is small. Our strength is small. I don't know what you are going through now. Some of them are not from the devil. And that's why when the pastor lays hand, it doesn't stop. You go to another pastor as though this one is not anointed. That one lays hand, it doesn't stop too. It means that all the pastors are not now anointed for your case. There must be something else that you don't know. It's called the fellowship of his suffering. That means you identify with his suffering. Our master suffered. Don't think suffering is all from the devil. There are some that originate from heaven because they were written concerning you before time. They were written concerning you before time. You may be a parent. You're not able to pay school fees yet. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to go about it. You look confused. Things seem to be going down. and you are a believer, you have prayed and prayed and prayed. Nothing seems to be happening. You have met pastors after pastors. They have laid hand. They have poured oil on your head. Nothing seems to be changing. It's not about the pastors not being anointed. It's about something that you are ignorant of. It's called the fellowship of his suffering. The one that we are calling on suffered. And those calling on him have to identify with his suffering. When they persecute you and trouble you, and you feel that, hey, I want to be depressed, God, this is too much. It's because you are awake. Because he will in it make a way of escape. When you go through fire, you see, I will be there. If you walk through the rivers, the waters, it won't drown you. The waters have the power to drown you, but the reason why it won't drown you is because the one who created it is there with you. The lions had the capacity to eat Daniel, but the reason why the lion could not use Daniel for breakfast was simply because the one who is the lion of the tribe of Judah was there with Daniel. And it didn't matter how many they are subject to his authority. So when they saw Daniel, in Daniel they will see the lion of the tribe of Judah. So this one is our master. This one created us. Then I'm sure they just came around Daniel and just bowed there and say, we recognize you. We came to being by your power. So they were seeing the fourth man in Daniel. They were seeing the fourth man around Daniel. Just the way they saw the fourth man in the fire. If you go through, the fourth man will be there with you. The fourth man is still alive. The fourth man is still alive. I don't know what it is. The fourth man is still alive. That fire will not burn you. It will refine you. That fire will not burn you. It will make you. That water will not drown you. It will cause you. It will take you to the place of destiny. No, it can't drown you. I don't know the fire that you are in right now. It will not burn you. The fourth man is there with 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 you. This fourth man is there with you. The fourth man is there with you. Those around you may not understand, but the fourth man is there with you. You see, I will not leave you nor forsake you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. The fourth man was there with Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. He was there with Daniel. He is there with you. He's right where you are. He's in that situation with you. As you pass through the fire, he's there with you. As you pass through the waters, he's there with you. He doesn't have the capacity to drown you because the very creator, the one that brought it into existence, is there. He's subject to the man, the fourth man. The fellowship of his suffering. The fellowship of his suffering. Every fellowship of his suffering that we need to experience, because the fellowship of his suffering is to the end that his glory will appear. Any fellowship of his suffering that we need to experience, we receive grace to stay there. The mistake sometimes that we do is that, especially pastors, when people are going through things, first find out if this is the fellowship of his suffering. And don't pray. Don't abort the process. Don't abort what God is doing. Sometimes emotionally we abort what God is doing. Some people need to go through that for a while. They have not done anything to God. It's part of what is captured about their life. Sometimes they don't have accommodation. They are trying to, they find somewhere, they're just preaching their head. If you sense that that's what, wait first, wait. You can help them, but wait first, wait first. Just because people are going through trial doesn't mean that you can help them. Because you'll be working for the devil. Especially when you know that this is their life. There's something God is doing in their life that will never be done with that help you are trying to provide now. Wait, watch them. Because there's something they will never become if they don't go through that. My prayer is that our life on earth, may it make meaning to heaven. May our life on earth make meaning to heaven. I say, may your life on earth make meaning to heaven. There's no earthly reason why we are on earth. We are not on earth to be medical doctors. We are not on earth to be professors. We are not on earth to marry. We are not on earth to be engineers. We are not on earth to be lawyers. As good as all these things are, God, they are only privileges by God to men in order to further the gospel.